Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. And going to start with the results from TNA Victory Road, go into WWE SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and AEW Collision. Yep, very full week, and we're going to get right into it with Victory Road results. Start off with the Hardy Boys, that's Matthew and Jeff Hardy, defeating First Class, that's AJ Francis and KC Navarro. Rich Swann had to be replaced due to reasons I will not go into. Speedball Mike Bailey regains the X Division title by beating Zachary Wentz. A little sad that's a short reign, but it is what it is. Spitfire regain the Knockouts Tag Team titles. Spitfire's Danny Luna and Jody Threat by defeating Masha Slamovich and Tasha Steelz, with Alicia Edwards out sick. So, that is what that is. Joe Hendry beats Josh Alexander via submission. That's pretty darn interesting. The System, Brian Myers and Andy Edwards, regain the tag team titles from Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Jordan Grace retains her Knockouts title against Wendy Chu of NXT. And Nick Nemeth retains his World Champion against Moose with a little help from John Bradshaw Layfield. Dude's doing the rounds, and I'm kind of here for it. So yeah, that's the results for that show. We now move into the regular review of WWE SmackDown. And SmackDown actually gets a brand new logo, which is, honestly, the more I see it, the more I do like it. Except for when it just shows the S, then it looks like a high school logo, which is definitely weird. And then we start out with a Triple H promo, which, okay. He goes over the history of SmackDown, saying it seems like yesterday I was just starting in the ring opposite The Rock, which, that's insane. And here we are 25 years later, no better place to be than right here, right now, and no better way to start this new era of SmackDown than with the Steel Cage WWE title match. And yeah, that's how we start. As it's the WWE title match inside of a steel cage. As we got Cody Rhodes taking on Solo Sikoa. Now, maybe I'm overhyping this a little bit, but this was the best match Solo has had in a long time. And, you know, maybe I'm just overhyping it because it's a cage stipulation match. But it definitely looked like he was trying a little bit harder. And like I said, really good back and forth between these two, including Cody and Solo trying to escape the cage, both by climbing over and then going through the door. But each opponent stops him. At one point, you see Cody going to escape, but instead of going to the outside, turns around, like right on the corner, hits a big old crossbody to Solo. Solo goes for the Samoan Spike. Cody Rhodes ducks it, hits a Crossroads to pick up the win and regain his title. And as Cody's celebrating, and we see a dozen highlights of the match that just happened, out comes Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu of the Bloodline. They surround the ring. They all climb up, get in the ring, and just beat down on Cody Rhodes. A 4-on-1 assault. Solo with a big old Samoan spike. Jacob with a moonsault. But then who makes the save? It's Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. And Roman makes his way to the ring. Goes in through the door. Closes and locks it. He has a little stare down with Solo. And then they get right into it. It's almost like that. Bunch of headbutts from Solo. Superman punch from Roman. Then at some point, Jacob goes to the outside. He then pulls Solo out of the ring. Then you see Roman trying to goad Jacob into the ring, into the cage. So Jacob takes a step in the cage. They face off for a minute. And then Solo grabs Jacob, pulls him out of the ring. Next thing you know, Roman gets jumped by the Gorillas of Destiny. That's Tama Tonga Tonga Loa from behind. Then Cody makes the save. Cody with the crossroads on Tama Tonga. Spear to Tonga Loa. And then you see an over-the-head shot of Roman. He's not facing Cody at the moment, but Cody's staring daggers into the back of Roman's head. Roman then turns. They have a little stare down. Oh! Match itself was really, really good. Solo stepped up really well. But the chaos afterwards, it set up so much. Like, I cannot wait for that Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns match. That's gonna be awesome. So then we cut to backstage in Nick Aldis's office, saying how, yeah, the last few minutes have been very chaotic to say the least. But we got everyone separated into their own locker rooms, and Solo has issued a challenge for bad blood. And we'll find out what it is coming soon. A challenge for bad blood, you say? Oh, that's going to be juicy. We then go to our second matchup of the night as Mia Yim takes on Piper Niven. And this match was like a really big ball and nothing. Like, no offense to Mia Yim and Piper Niven. Both are extremely talented. They were not given nearly enough time. With Mia Yim winning in like 5 minutes to a neat defeat. Post-match, Chelsea Green attacks Mia Yim. And then Piper Niven with a big old senton with both sides. And then Green hits an unpretty her on Yim into a trash can. Which, effective. We then come back from a commercial break. Who's in the crowd? It's Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam. And then also Vicky Guerrero, which is very interesting. Bringing back some old faces from SmackDown of old. So then we go into our next matchup as it's A-Town Down Under taking on Kevin Owens and a mystery partner. So Owens gets on the microphone. He says, look, obviously my first choice wasn't here, so here's my other choice. We get generic SmackDown music and I can only describe as I don't even know how to describe this guy. He's a local independent worker getting paid for the night. That's what I can tell you. So then Owen says, alright, look, he clearly wasn't my first choice. My first choice had some travel issues. So, what's your name? Ricky. Hey, Ricky, he's going to be my partner. Before the bell rings, one of the producers from ringside goes up to Kevin Owens and said, he's here. He's here. Owen's like, yeah, he's here. hits a stunner on Ricky, and his actual partner, the Viper, Randy Orton, making his return to SmackDown after a war against Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion. So, Waller and Owens started off. Usual Kevin Owens beatdown until Austin Theory saves Waller from a big old cannonball. They then fight at ringside for a little bit. There's some teases of tagging in Orton, but then A-Town Under taking him off the apron. But eventually the tag is made. Bunch of clotheslines, bunch of power slams, double DDTs off the ring, second rope, couple of suplexes into the announce table. Kevin Owens with a stunner to Theory, Randy Orton with an RKO to Waller. Your winners, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Good. Can we get past this, please? I need Kevin Owens to be doing something else. Maybe he turns heel and takes on LA Knight. Although we'll get to Knight a little later and the US title. So then, post that, we see Nick Aldis. He's walking around backstage. And then he gets intercepted by the interviewer saying Solo has made a challenge for Bad Blood. It'll be Solo and Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And Aldis reveals the Bloodline have already signed it. They didn't even look at it. Now I gotta get Cody and Roman to sign. That leads to a knock at the door. And in walks Cody Rhodes, of all people. And he says, if you didn't hear me earlier, the Bloodline is Roman's problem now. I'm done. I'm out. I'm not signing that. Okay. Definitely an interesting transition, and I'm going to say this. I would have been okay with Cody Rhodes getting out of the Bloodline stuff and focusing on his own thing. But we'll get to that a little later. Next up, who else is in the crowd? It's King Booker and Queen Sharmell, aka Booker T and Sharmell, the husband and wife. They're sitting in the crowd, enjoying the show. Then we get a Nia Jax promo, which, don't worry, we'll get there. She said, I was thinking, a year ago I made my WWE return. That's when the roster realized why I'm so unstoppable. I won the Queen of the Ring, which was easy. I became your women's champion. That was even easier. Everyone fears me and has a good reason. Now, Nick Aldis has revealed, I'm going to be defending my title at Bad Blood. But it doesn't matter who he sets up against me. They're going to see the same face as any of my other opponents. And I'm going to annihilate them. Now, before I go further, I honestly thought this was going to be the return of Charlotte Flair, which I would have been okay with. Instead, we get Bayley, who I don't think has had a rematch for the women's title yet. So she comes out, she kind of reverts to her old heel persona, starting off with a ding ding, hello idiot, which she would do with her talk show, which I don't think she does anymore, which is interesting. Bayley then continues, I'm going to give you motherfucker. I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt. You've had the greatest year of your career, although that bar wasn't set so high. Nia, no, this is still Bayley. I'm happy you're so confident because I want my rematch. Nia then retorts, you're in zero position to demand anything. I currently run the women's division, and I don't need the posse like Damage Control, like you do. Bayley retorts, did you not watch WrestleMania? Obviously, I didn't need Damage Control to win that. And, by the way, what is your and Tiffany's relationship? What did she do? And before Nia could retort, out comes Tiffany Stratton, calling Bayley so pathetic. Just like everyone else on this roster, while you have to beg for opportunities, I clearly do not, as Miss Money in the Bank. And I don't need to be a peasant. Bayley retorts, didn't this peasant beat you last week? Then Tiffany retorts, kind of blurts out, it's only because Nia interfered. Bayley then asks, you lost because of Nia? Nia Jax then turns to Tiffany Stratton. I thought we were about to see a bloodbath. But then Nia kind of snaps out of it, says, you almost had me there. Like if we had a match, you wouldn't have had me at all. This brings out Naomi, of all people, which is very, very interesting. Naomi then says, you want to fight? We can, but it's not oh no, this is Nia. So you want to fight? We can, but it's not happening today. It's been this is Naomi. It's been a while since I held a title. It's time for you to put money where your mouth is. Nia retorts, you want a title shot? Alright, why don't we have a match to see who faces me at Bad Blood? However, instead of a three-way between you three, how about the two of you versus the two of us? And if you somehow pin one of us, the winner gets a title shot. Then Bayley and Naomi say at the same time, we accept. And then as Nia and Tiffany go to leave, Nia turns around and says, oh, and when Tiffany and I win, the loser leaves SmackDown for good. Okay, I'm going to say this. This might be a little obvious, but I love when WWE, and pretty much any promotion does this, adds stakes to a match. This is great. Now there's stakes for this match. Ooh, I can't wait to see what happens. And before Tiffany leaves, she goes after Naomi, who runs right into her butt, aka the rear view, to end that segment. So, definitely a very informative segment. I kind of wish it didn't go so long, though. It felt like it went on forever. So then we see Nick Aldis. He's walking out of a locker room. He's walking out of Roman's locker room. Interviewer comes in with Aldis saying, I just talked to Roman. He wants to address this whole situation later on tonight after this match. Okay, so we're getting down to our main event here. Let's see what we got. Next shown in the crowd is Mr. Damn himself, Ron Simmons, Teddy Theodore Long, who's about to make me go one-on-one with The Undertaker player, Lord William Regal, and a man I wish I could see still wrestling, but it turns out he's happy, so if he's happy, I'm happy. The glorious Bobby Roode. They're all in the crowd. They're ready for the main event match. Main event segment is coming. So, main event match, we have Andrade taking on Carmelo Hayes, with the winner getting to face LA Knight for the US title. Before the bell rings, Carmelo Hayes attacks Andrade, but Andrade fights back, gets a big old moonsault almost right off the bat. They get back in. They're kind of flying all over the place. It kind of feels like they're going in fast forward a little bit. Then things slow down a little. Andrade goes for his DDT, but that gets blocked. Goes for the message, that gets blocked. Hayes with a roll-up, only for a 2. Hayes with a top rope codebreaker. That's really good move. Goes for a moonsault, that gets blocked. Hayes goes for a nothing but net, but whiffs. Andrade goes for the message again, misses. Hayes with a destroyer, which that was wild, only for a 2 count. Then, at whatever point, Hayes and Andrade get up of the top rope, go to hit each other with superplexes. Eventually, Andrade hits the message from the top rope to pick up the win. Yeah, before anyone says, Hayes isn't buried here. He's just put on a hell of a competitive match, and I don't think he's out of this yet. I think he's going to cost Andrade. And speaking of costing Andrade, out comes LA Knight. Yeah. Says, congratulations, Andrade. You're up next to get the US title shot. But don't get too excited. Even though you won tonight, it's going to be a hit and quit sweepstakes. And we're going to find out who, when, where you are. I don't fully understand what that means, but I do get the gist. So that was our main event match. Next up, we have a backstage interview between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, saying they're so excited to be on SmackDown and more excited to get our titles back. We're not letting go of these, and whoever wants it, come get it. And who rolls up? It's Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. With Nia starting out, you hear what happened to Naomi? Then Bianca says, no, I didn't. Well, nothing yet. But if she sticks her nose in my business again, something will. And hey, didn't I beat both of you to qualify for Queen of the Ring? What, you keep those warm for us. Nia and Tiffany going for the tag titles. Alright. I see what you're doing, WWE. So, next up, we got the main event promo. And it's from Roman Reigns, our tribal chief. And to start out, he doesn't use his catchphrase. Acknowledge me. Interesting. Starts out the promo saying, I don't want to confuse anyone here. While some things change, not me. I don't need him or some contract. This is bloodline business. I don't need Cody Rhodes. Whether I have the Ula Fala or not, I am the tribal chief. And this is my ring, my show, my WWE. So then, that brings out Cody Rhodes. And he's dressed really normally. Like, changed out of his tights. He's in jeans. Has his own t-shirt on. So he gets in the ring, grabs the microphone, says, your ring? Your WWE? Well, it was, but it hasn't been since WrestleMania. So they drop their mics, they're facing off, they're ready to fight. Then out comes the Bloodline, i.e. Solo and Jacob. So they have a little stare down with Cody and Roman in the ring. Then who attacks them from behind? It's Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa. They attack Roman and Cody from behind. Eventually, Cody and Roman fight back. Cody with a huge cutter to Tama Tonga. Roman with an Uranagi to Tonga Loa. And then Roman sees in the corner it's the contract for the match for Bad Blood. Picks it up, presses down on the pen, signs it. He then extends his hand to Cody Rhodes, takes the contract, opens it up, signs it himself. So the match is set for Bad Blood. We're getting Bloodline 2.0 taking on Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I'm okay with this match. I'm okay with this tag team as well because it's probably just going to be a one-off. But yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting match. And I hope eventually this is going to lead somewhere pretty big. Especially with the potential plans for War Games, which isn't too far off. So, yeah, overall, SmackDown was a lot of fun. Only one real bad match, and that was Mia Yim and Piper Niven. Other than that, some great setup for Bad Blood. A nice night-long storyline, which is always good. And honestly, some really good action. I do hope the women's division get a little more coming soon, because that one match was a little disappointing. Anyway, so moving on from SmackDown, we now go to AEW Rampage, which I was actually a little late for, because SmackDown went a little overtime, which, first time in a long time that's happened. So we start off with, I want to say it was just a normal tag. It could have been a 6-man. No, it was a 6-man because it was the Dark Order. So Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Evil Uno taking on the Conglomeration. So that's Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe. And yeah, from what I saw of this match was really, really fun. Dark Order went for the Pendulum Bomb. That gets countered by Cassidy, who then gets in some kicks with Kyle O'Reilly. Cassidy with the Orange Punch. Mark tags in, hits the J Driller to pick up the win for the Conglomeration. So that was definitely a fun match from what I saw. I am a little disappointed I missed most of it, but what can you do with SmackDown going overtime? We then have a dual interview / promo battle between the Undisputed Kingdom, so that's Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, and Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. With Taven saying, it's good to see you guys outside of Texas. It's clear all of the Texas have interfered on Collision in our matches. Now I understand why you paint your face. You have zero honor. So the only way to settle this for the tag team titles is a fight without honor. Sammy Guevara then interjects, says, "Whoa, Dustin is a living legend." Then Dustin gets into the face of Matt Taven. He says, "Never mention my family again. I've been nothing but honorable. So, instead of your fight without honor, how about this next week," I think it was said, "we have a bunkhouse brawl so I can go on and rip your eyeballs out." What in the world? Alright, so we're getting Dustin Rhodes and Sammy defending their tag titles. Should be a fun one. Next up, we got Camille taking on Robin Renegade. And while Camille did overpower Robin for a bit, Robin definitely got some really good stuff in, but eventually Camille wins via the Truth, which is a great name for a finisher. We then see a backstage promo from Christopher Daniels. We're going to get there in a minute. As he says, I've been intern EVP for a good time now, but everyone has forgotten that I am a wrestler also. So tomorrow night, Jack, it's going to be you versus me for the TNT title. And don't forget to pack a lunch, because I'm going to kick your ass. Not really a ton of connection between those statements, but I understand what he was getting at. I do kind of miss seeing Christopher Daniels wrestle, because he is severely underrated. So good to see him getting back into things. Next up, we got the weirdest one-on-one match I think I've ever seen, as Roderick Strong takes on Beef. And no, I'm not kidding. That's the dude's name. And while the match itself was okay, was actually more than okay. Like, Beef held his own really, really well. I think what was surprising to me to hear all the beef, beef, beef chants after he did, well, anything. During the kind of finish of the match, the Kingdom attack Anthony Henry, who was accompanying Beef. And apparently they're like second cousins, which is fascinating. Beef then takes out the Kingdom ringside. He gets back in, Roddy with a big knee strike to pick up the win. I kind of dig that. It's a more than creative finish. I do wish Beef got more of a spotlight, because dude is underrated. He's got so much charisma, it's not even funny. And then we get a Righteous promo, but it starts as an all-black screen, and we just hear Vincent saying, "Always light comes after darkness. We are the dwindling light in the tag division, and the Righteous are the candle in the corner. Light goes up." Vincent continues, "We are here because we aren't all there. House of Black. You dig what I'm saying?" Okay, the Righteous versus the House of Black. I'm in. Like, for real, I am in on that. That sounds like fun. Next matchup, we got some women's tag team action as Saraya teams with Harley Cameron to take on Allison Kay and Marty Bell of the Hex. Definitely been a while since I've seen the Hex wrestle, but man, are they super good. But someone who has been impressing me as of late is actually Harley Cameron. While she's not 100% there as a wrestler, she's growing into her own, and it's been a joy to watch. Here's where it gets interesting. Harley hits Soul Food on Allison Kay. Then Saraya tags in, hits the Nightcap to pick up the win for her team. And as they're celebrating, out comes Jamie Hayter. Saraya at first stands side by side with Cameron. She then bails out of the ring while Cameron eats an elbow strike. So, looks like we're going to get a Jamie Hayter-Saraya feud coming soon, which I'm definitely in for. Then we get to our Rampage main event. And big surprise, it was an absolute banger, as we got Konosuke Takeshita taking on Action Andretti. And I'm going to say this, the big guy versus the little guy dynamic always works. Like, you got the power contrast to the speed and agility of Andretti, and it just works. It works so well between these two. Eventually Takeshita hitting the power drive knee, only for a 2. Then hitting the Raging Fire Power Bomb, which is a great name for a finish, for the win for Mr. Takeshita. I'm gonna say this. If you're not watching Rampage, you're missing some gems, man. Even though Rampage is kind of set as unimportant to AEW lore, there's some good stuff here. I'd say if you're falling off for Rampage, maybe check it out one time. All I'm gonna say. And finally, we finish up with AEW Collision. Now, I know it has been quite a while since I've covered Collision, but here we are, back again. We see Jack Perry arriving. He's in his scapegoat bus, which is hilarious. Then we go to our first matchup of the evening, and it's for the TNT title, as Jack Perry takes on Christopher Daniels. And right off the bat, Daniels is on Jack Perry like white on rice. Really good back and forth, with eventually Daniels going for Angel's Wings, but Jack Perry blocks it into a roll-up, only for 2. Perry with the big old knee strike to pick up the win. And as Perry's leaving, he says, "I know you all hate us because you ain't us. Come at me when you got some." So then Perry leaves on his bus out of the arena. We then get a very interesting all-out recap from Pac, Claudio, and Mox turning on Daniel Bryan after his match. Then we go see Wheeler Yuta. He's distraught. He's kind of just holding his trios title. Then interviewer rolls up, asking about Daniel Bryan's situation. Starts off, Bryan tapers off for a minute. "I got respect for him, but I don't want to share too much. He's doing the best that he can, but I'm sorry, I don't have much for you." He goes to walk off. Interviewer stops and saying, "How are you doing?" Yuta then says, "Look, I'm going to talk to the others in the Blackpool Combat Club. Anthony Henry, he's a hell of a competitor. One thing Bryan told me is chin up, and I'm going to try to go tonight." So Yuta has a match with Anthony Henry later. We're going to see that match a little later. Just wait. Next match, we got a little trios action, as it's the conglomeration that is Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly teaming up with Hologram, which OG Collision Cowboy, taking on the Beast Mortis and Arya Daivari and Tony Nese of the Premier Athletes. And honestly, this was a really, really good back and forth match. I honestly forget sometimes how good Nese is, and Nese is very, very good. But the two MVPs of this match, Mortis and Hologram. And honestly, I could watch these two have a match 800 times and it'd still be entertaining as hell. So near the end of the match, Cassidy goes for the DDT. That gets blocked. No, it's not. It's Mortis that goes for the DDT. Then he gets hit with the roll-up with your winners, Hologram and the Conglomeration. Mortis then attacks Hologram and the Conglomeration post-match. And, yeah, it's don't think this feud is over. Let's see where it goes. We then see a recap of the CMLL 91 anniversary show featuring Orange Cassidy's first match in the promotion, as well as Mystico versus Chris Jericho, and that terrible sell of La Mystica. Like, that was bad. So then we cut to an Orange Cassidy interview. Before it starts, Chris Jericho attacks Cassidy from behind. Then you see the rest of the learning tree. They hold Cassidy back and put Cassidy's backpack, in which Jericho stole, on Cassidy's head. Then you see Jericho. He's holding the picture of Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Chuck Taylor, the best friends. Jericho says, "Nice picture." Hits Orange Cassidy with the photograph. And then the learning tree walk off. This feud needs to get wrapped up quick. I'm sorry. I have no interest in seeing Cassidy take on Jericho again. Been there, done that. Cassidy already beat him. Then we get to see something a little interesting. We see Stokely Hathaway. He's in some living room. I'm going to guess it's his. Then he starts picking up little DVDs, putting them in the TV. And they're DVDs of previous tag team matches in AEW, including the Briscoe Brothers versus FTR, Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers. So it looks like Stokely is looking to get a tag team in his group. So that could be interesting. Wonder who he's going to pick. So next up, we got a top of the ramp Mariah May interview. She says, yes, the title celebration is going down, but it's not going down here. While I'm not on the best terms with Mina Shirakawa, along the way things just happened. Mina, I need you here. No, it's not top of the ramp, it's in the back. I want Mina. And as she's finishing up, in comes Yuka Sakazaki. It's so good to see her back. AEW OG. And she says, I want a match with you. Mariah May says, get in line and I'll rip your head off. And Yuka's like, okay, bye. I love Yuka Sakazaki. She might be a little cute, but she's intense. Like, we'll get to her match a little later. But first, we go to Wheeler Yuta taking on Anthony Henry. And Yuta, he's definitely not all there. His wrists aren't all taped up. He just kind of throws the trios title to the announcer. And then throughout the match, he just kind of doesn't have it in him. His mind is still on his friends. But eventually, Anthony Henry wakes him up, and then he fights back hard. Like, including a big old dropkick into the hammer and anvil, straight into the cattle mutilation for the submission victory. And as he gets up, it looks like he's going to go after the referee. But then Yuta calms down. And he's good to go. I like this story. This is good. This is a good way to not only elevate Yuta, but also elevate Collision. We're having more stories on Collision, which is always nice. So next up, we got a backstage promo, kind of promo interviewee between Serena Deeb and Queen Aminata. So Deeb is like, I've been meaning to talk to you a couple weeks ago, you have a lot of potential, but you're still not quite ready. But you know where my locker room is. Aminata replies, I clearly don't have time for this. Deebs then is like, let the professor guide you. And this is the last time. Then Deeb turns to the camera, says, Yuka, last time we had a match, I broke your leg. We're gonna see you later. So that match is coming up. Then we got an Anna Jay vignette, and it's showing her time at Stardom, which I've seen bits and pieces of. She's definitely improved. I can't wait to see Anna Jay back in an AEW ring. Now, next up is another trios match. And I think this was supposed to be the one we were supposed to get on Dynamite before Moxley and his crew took him out. It's Private Party. That's Mark Quinn and... God, what's his partner's name? I forget his partner's name. I do apologize. Against Commander, against John Cruz, Lord Crew, and Jay Jones. In which this was definitely the most one-sided match I've ever seen. Finishing up with a gin and juice from Private Party to pick up the win. Then we see Nigel McGuinness on commentary. He talks about how he got this match with Danielson potentially at Grand Slam if Danielson's cleared. We then see some interesting footage of the last time Nigel and Danielson had a match from Ring of Honor. Ooh, I am so happy they gave us a reason for this match potentially existing. Grand Slam is going to be awesome. So, next up, we get Serena Deeb taking on Yuka Sakazaki, who joins commentary. It's the women's champion, Mariah May. And this match looked to be Serena Deeb dominating for a little bit, including a nasty-looking stretch muffler, but Yuka fights to get in the ropes. She fights back. Deeb with a big old brainbuster. Deeb goes for a powerbomb. Yuka with a big old brainbuster into a splash from the top rope. So your winner, Yuka Sakazaki. Post-match, Mariah May attacks Yuka on the ramp, going for a Storm Zero, but Yuka gets out of it and hits a big old super kick to Mariah May's face. She picks up, holds up the women's title, then gives it right back to May. I honestly hope that's a match set for Grand Slam, because that match would be so good. We then get a nice little vignette from the Outrunners. I do hope they're getting signed by AEW, because the Outrunners are fantastic. We then get a promo from Top Flight and Action Andretti, and they're kind of outside somewhere, with Andretti saying, look, we got so much talent in this group, but we lose all the time. We need to be out there making challenges for ourselves. Why not the House of Black? Then, it was one of them saying, we're not going to go against the House of Black. Look, we're going to get this thing together, or this isn't going to work. And so Action Andretti runs off. Everyone's like, oh, where's he going? Where's he going? So, looks like some dissension in the ranks of Top Flight. Maybe that's the best for him, because I think Dante and Darius as a tag team would be just a lot better. No offense to Action Andretti. Action is really underrated, but I think maybe a heel turn with him wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Next up, we got a little trios action as the Bang Bang Gang, that's Austin and Colton Gunn, along with Juice Robinson, take on the Cage of Agony, that's Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Liona. And this was a fun match. Like, this was a super good match. Really, really fun back and forth. Especially between Juice and Toa Liona. That was funny as hell. Really good back and forth. Eventually, the Guns hit the 310 to Yuma. Juice Robinson hitting the Juices Loose to pick up the win for his team. Oh man, I can't wait to see these guys get their trios titles back. And let's get Jay White back already. Let's go. We then see Serena Deeb. She's about to enter her locker room. Interviewer walks up trying to get a word in. Then Queen Aminata walks up, says, "So that's how it's done," and then walks off for her match against Robin Renegade. And this match, while a little shorter than I would have liked to see, it was a great showcase for not only Aminata, but also Robin Renegade, in which Aminata wins via headbutt, which, first time I've seen that basic move win a match. Then from behind Aminata, you see Serena Deeb, who attacks Aminata from behind. Now she's working on Aminata's leg. Officials come out and break it up. So this rivalry, I'd say pretty well set up for all it's worth. We then get a In the Void House of Black promo with them saying everyone wants a piece of the House of Black and the odds are out. We're going to come for one, come for all. So, it looks like the House of Black are inviting some big challenges coming. And then we got our main event of the evening, as it's FTR, that's Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, taking on the Grizzled Young Veterans, that's Zach Gibson and James Drake. Now, I don't think these two teams ever had a match before, so this was absolutely excellent, really awesome back and forth, with the finish with the Grizzled Young Veterans looking for a Doomsday device that gets countered with Dax Harwood locking in the sharpshooter for the submission win. And as FTR are celebrating, the Grizzled Young Veterans attack FTR from the behind, hit the Grit Your Teeth looking for more, and that's when who makes the save but the Outrunners. They run FTR off, the Grizzled Young Veterans off, and that leaves us with FTR in the ring. They get up after selling the attack. They turn to face the Outrunners. Outrunners extend their hands in a handshake, Mega Power style. FTR first were like, "Oh no, we don't really want to do this. No, we don't." But they end up shaking hands and posing in the ring to finish the show. That match itself was a whole lot of fun, including the Outrunners in this story. Definitely adds a new element to it. I'd like to see how the Outrunners and FTR are going to interact, because that's going to be a lot of fun. So, that'll do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. Coming Friday, of course, is going to be my review of Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. And then coming soon, we got Bad Blood. And I can't wait for this one. So, yeah, a lot of nice, really good things set up. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.